Greetings, welcome to this week's DigiScrap layout. I'm Anita with beandesigns.com. I'm really glad that you're here. I started by opening a new image for my layout this week, 3600 by 3600 pixels at 300 pixels per inch for the resolution. I use drag and drop to bring my digital papers from the folders where they're stored onto the new image, which is the album page. I brought in a background paper and two papers I'm going to use as mats behind the photos. I also brought in three photos that I'm going to use on this scrapbook page. You can see that all of these items are going to appear here in the layer palette. The photos are very large, and I know that I want them to be at 1200 pixels width so that the three of them can fit side by side on my 3600 pixels wide page. So with each layer active, using the scale tool, choosing 1200 pixels width, keeping the aspect ratio locked, I'm able to scale the photos to fit side by side on my page. They're each 1200 pixels wide. I'm going to use my move tool to move them into place. As I move the first one, I realize that the layer still thinks that the photo is the full size. So I'm going to choose Layer from the menu across the top and click Crop to Content on each individual photo layer, and that crops the content to the scaled photos. Now I'm going to use my Move tool to finish placing each one in its location. I can use the magnification. I'm going to increase the magnification so that I can better place them side by side at the same level across my scrapbook page. Each one touching the other one across the page. Once that is done, I'm going to make the first photo mat the active layer so that I can crop it to be the photo mat. Use my crop tool and draw a square, a rectangle, just outside the boundary of my photos. Then I click inside that to delete the remaining area. Then I'll make the second paper active, use the crop tool, outline just outside the previous mat, and crop away the remainder. I'll then use the drag and drop action to pull in some of my elements. I've got my bow and my flower, and I can use the move tool to put these into place. I need to scale this smaller, so I'll make the bow layer active, use the scale tool to scale it to size, move it into place right there. Then I can move my flower over to my bow, and I'll need to reorder it on the layer palette. It needs to be a little bit smaller, so we'll scale that down. And we'll duplicate it to put some flowers over on the left. Each of the flowers, because they're duplicated, are going to be exactly the same. I want them to look a little bit differently. So to do that, I'm going to use the rotate tool. So I'll make each layer of the flowers active, use the rotate tool, and then rotate that one just a little bit to the left, this one just a little bit to the right, and this one further to the right, and apply that action. Okay, so I know in my title that I am going to use one of these flowers as the dot on an eye. So I'm going to duplicate that and pull it over into the title area. We're now going to work on the title. So that's going to be using the text tool So let's make one of the digital papers the active layer. Use the text tool, choose my font, then I'm going to choose my size of 400. I'm going to choose my color. Click on that color box, use the eyedropper, and I can click on a blue inside one of the petals on the flower. Then I can click on my open area and start typing. Beautiful bride. My line spacing is very large. So over in the text tool area, I can see that I can adjust my line spacing. So I'm going to reduce that spacing, and you can see over on our image how the bride moves up to meet the beautiful. When I'm happy, I can deactivate the text tool by clicking in the move tool, grab hold part of the title and maneuver it into place. I want to add a little bit of dimension to the title. So I'm going to duplicate the text layer. I'm going to right click and do alpha to selection. Then I'm going to feather that selection and shrink it and delete the inner portion. Then I'll go to the mode tool and make it multiply. Then I will select none and choose filters and add a drop shadow to the title. Let's use one of these flowers as the dot for the eye. Ooh, that flower is kind of big. Let's scale it down. Scale, scale. That looks better. And we're going to duplicate that to use it for the dot on the top eye as well. And scale that just a little bit down. Okay. So now I'm going to add drop shadows to the flowers, ink the edges of the photos, add a dimension edge to each of the photo mats, and dimension to the outer edge of the entire page. If you want to know details on how I do that, check out some of my other videos on the channel. As always, I'm very grateful to you for watching this video and joining in this journey of creating and documenting 52 DigiScrap layouts in 52 weeks using GIMP. This is the 9th layout and I have 43 more to go. Information on the digital kit that I used in this layout can be found in the description of this video. Bye bye for now.